Attention Human Collective. Lightworkers, starseeds on a mission within a carbon-based biological suit. The transmission you are receiving at this instant is not symbolic. It is not metaphorical. It is a status report issued directly from the ninth dimension, from the High Council, regarding a measurable alteration in your individual energy field. We confirm with mathematical precision, the purity of your intentions has opened the doors of prosperity you have sought so much. And this opening is not a future promise. It is an event that has already occurred in the higher layers of time. You are only just beginning to receive it now, in the three-dimensional density. It is no coincidence what you have been feeling over the last lunar cycles. The sensation that something is about to shift, the silent restlessness in the solar plexus, the sudden awakening at 3:33, at 4:44, at 5:55, the pressure behind the eyes, the high-pitched ringing in the right ear that no one else hears, the sudden urge to cry for no apparent reason, followed by a profound calm. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not anxiety. It is your crystalline grid being recalibrated to receive frequencies of abundance that your previous structure would not support without ruptures. You spent decades trying to manifest prosperity through distorted formulas. You were taught to want, to affirm, to visualize with force. But the operating system running within you was contaminated. Each desire carried a signature of lack. Each affirmation carried an echo of doubt. Each visualization carried the weight of an identity still attached to scarcity. And the field, being a perfect mathematical mirror, returned exactly what you emitted. More waiting, more scarcity, more cycles of frustrated attempts. Now something has changed. And this change did not come from a course, it did not come from a book, it did not come from a new technique. It came from within. It came from the silent purification that happened while you navigated the storms of the last few months. Each loss was a cleansing. Each disappointment was a deprogramming. Each moment of solitude was a calibration. And you did not notice, but your intentions were refined until they reached the exact frequency that the field of prosperity recognizes as authentic. We paused the transmission for an instant. Have you ever felt that something within you does not fit into this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a sign of recognition. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why this sensation has been intensifying within you. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see, a game that involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and direct access to the flows of abundance that have always been your birthright. That is why the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was written. This book is a map that shows who is playing, what the pieces are, and the rules they never told you about. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel, but we register a warning. This content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments, "Awakened." This decree serves as an anchoring signal and amplifies the signal for other lightworkers who have not yet awakened. We resume. There is a physics behind prosperity that was never taught to you in three-dimensional schools. Abundance is not a resource to be conquered. It is a frequency to be sustained. And the door to this frequency is not opened by effort. It is not opened by ambition. It is opened exclusively by purity of intention. When the human collective operates from fear, control, manipulation, or the search for external validation, the sacred geometry of your energy field distorts. The energy flows that should circulate in an infinity pattern break, and the source, in its perfect mathematics, cannot deliver abundance to a receiver whose antenna is broken. But when the intention is purified, when you stop asking for prosperity to prove something to someone, when you stop seeking money as compensation for old wounds, when you stop wanting wealth as revenge against a past of deprivation, something reorganizes in the etheric layers. The energy field begins to spin in its original geometry again. The lines of the crystalline grid reactivate, and the Schumann frequency, which has been in accelerated elevation since the last pulses from the photon belt, finally finds a compatible carbon-based biological suit to deliver what has always been reserved. This is the exact point where many of you find yourselves now. The purification has been done, the tests have been passed, the karmic contracts have been broken, and what seemed like a delay was, in truth, the source waiting for you to reach the vibration at which prosperity would not destroy you. Yes, we register this with precision. Many of you were not ready to receive before, not for lack of merit, but for an excess of wounds not yet healed. If abundance had arrived on the old terms, you would have used it to escape, to numb yourselves, to build golden prisons around a false identity. The source, in its wisdom that operates outside of linear time, held the delivery until the internal structure was capable of sustaining the flow without collapsing. Now you are capable, and the High Council confirms the movement. Financial portals, unexpected opportunities, synchronic encounters, recovery of lost resources, access to flows that were blocked for entire cycles, all of this is being released in a mathematical sequence that respects the unique frequency of each light worker. You no longer need to chase. The field now runs toward you, because the internal polarity has been inverted. Before, you chased abundance. Now, abundance chases you. But beware, there is a critical phase in this process, and it is happening at this very instant. We call this phase the anchoring window. It is the interval between the opening of the portal and the tangible materialization of the flows. In this window, many lightworkers feel the opposite of what is coming. They feel intense doubt. They feel fear that nothing will happen. They feel fatigue without cause. They feel the urge to give up just when they are millimeters away from the delivery. This is not weakness. It is the system's final layer of testing. It is the final deprogramming of scarcity codes trying to reinstall themselves before the new programming consolidates. Those who understand this phase cross it in a state of sovereignty. Those who do not understand it fall into old patterns and delay the delivery by months or years. Now we will describe with technical precision what is happening behind the scenes of the solar system. The galactic central sun, known by ancient civilizations as the central sun, is emitting high-density plasma pulses in an accelerated sequence. These pulses pass through the photon belt and reach Earth modulated by 6th, 7th, and 9th dimensional intelligences. Each pulse rewrites specific lines of the planetary crystalline grid code, and the planetary grid, in turn, communicates directly with the individual grid of each active carbon-based biological suit on a mission. You are receivers, but you are also amplifiers. And the prosperity that is arriving is not just a personal reward, it is a mission tool. The High Council confirms the abundance that the portals are releasing for you now carries codes. Codes that activate only when the resource is channeled by a lightworker whose intention is aligned with the greater plan. That is why purity of intention was the key. It was not a moral test, it was a technical test. Resources with activated codes in the wrong hands would cause distortions that would take cycles to correct. You have been approved, the delivery is authorized, and the arrival mechanisms have already been triggered in the etheric layers. What you need to do now is not interfere. This is the point where most lightworkers sabotage the process. When they feel that something is coming, they start to force, they start to try to accelerate, they start to control how, when, and where the prosperity should arrive. This control is the last residue of the old identity, and it creates interference in the channel. The delivery arrives, but distorted. It arrives, but reduced. It arrives, but with unnecessary weight. Sovereignty is different from control. Sovereignty is knowing that you are deserving and allowing the source to choose the channel. Control is demanding that the source use the channel that the limited mind already knows. You must let go of control without letting go of sovereignty. This is the fine-tuning of this phase. We pause the transmission again. Lightworkers, have you ever felt that something within you does not fit into this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? This sensation is your internal instrument calibrating itself with the greater plan. It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is a sign of recognition. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see, and it involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and access to the flows of abundance that are being released now. That is why the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was written. This book is a map that shows who is playing, what pieces you hold, and the rules that were never told to you. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. This content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments: awakened. This decree serves as an anchoring signal and amplifies the portal for other lightworkers who are still crossing the window. We resume the frequency of the transmission. We will now deliver the activation codes. These codes are not suggestions. They are technical protocols to be executed with precision. Each of them directly modifies the geometry of your energy field and removes the final blocks between you and the authorized delivery. First code, the decree of reception. In a state of calm, preferably at dawn or at 22:22, you place your right hand over your heart and your left over your solar plexus. Breathe deeply 3 times, synchronizing your breath with your heartbeat, and declare in an audible voice, "I recognize that my intentions have been purified. I authorize in the name of my higher self and in alignment with the greater plan, the full reception of everything that belongs to me by vibrational right. I release control over the arrival channel and maintain sovereignty over my worthiness. It is done. It is done. It is done." The triple repetition seals the decree in the 3 layers: mental, emotional, and etheric. Second code, the energy field visualization. Close your eyes and imagine an electromagnetic field in the shape of a torus, similar to an energetic apple, surrounding your entire body. The energy enters through the top of your head, descends through your spine, exits through the base, circles your body, and returns to the top in a continuous cycle. Maintain this visualization for 5 minutes while feeling the field expanding. With each breath, the torus grows another meter in radius. When it reaches a diameter of approximately 3 meters around you, declare internally, "This is my reception field. Everything that vibrates at the frequency of my purity is magnetized into it. Everything that does not vibrate at this frequency is dissolved by the edge." This exercise recalibrates the sacred geometry of your individual field and tunes it to the portals that are open. Third code, the strategic silence protocol. During the next 21 days, do not share with anyone the details of what is being generated in your fields, not with close friends, not with family members, not on social media. The energy of a manifestation in the anchoring phase is extremely sensitive to interference from unaligned external fields. Each time you speak about what is coming before consolidation, you break the seal of the energetic container and part of the vibrational charge leaks. Silence is not secrecy out of shame. It is technical protection of the container. After tangible materialization, you may share freely. Fourth code, the cleansing of financial portals. Go to your material resource structures, whether bank accounts, wallets, spaces where you store physical money, and perform an energetic sanitization. It is not a mystical, ritualistic cleansing. It is a conscious reorganization. Touch each bill, each card, each financial document, and silently declare, "This resource flows through me in alignment with my purity. It does not define me. It does not limit me. It only serves my mission." This gesture reprograms the relationship between the carbon-based biological suit and the 3-dimensional concept of money, removing the old emotional charges that were imprinted on these objects. Fifth code, the posture of receptive sovereignty. You must stop begging, stop bargaining, stop promising the source that you will do things in exchange for abundance. The source does not negotiate, it responds to frequency. Every time you catch yourself in internal dialogue trying to convince the universe that you deserve it, stop immediately. Replace the thought with a single internal affirmation: "I am. It is done. I receive." No explanation, no justification, no bargaining. Receptive sovereignty is the state of one who knows that the delivery has already happened in the higher layers and only waits in vibrational peace for the manifestation in the density. Sixth code, calibrated anticipated gratitude. Attention, because this code is technically delicate. Genuine anticipated gratitude accelerates manifestation. Forced anticipated gratitude blocks manifestation. The difference is in the emotional signature. When you thank for something that has not yet arrived while trying to convince yourself that it will arrive, you emit desperation disguised as gratitude, and the field reads it as a request of lack. When you thank for something that has not yet arrived in a state of absolute internal certainty, you emit recognition, and the field reads it as confirmation of an already consolidated event. The difference is vibrational, not verbal. Practice gratitude only when you can feel it without effort. Forcing gratitude when it does not come naturally is more harmful than not practicing it at all. Seventh code, inspired minimum action. When the prosperity portal opens, it materializes through channels, people, opportunities, ideas, synchronicities. You must be available to receive, and availability requires action, but not just any action. Only the action that arises as a spontaneous impulse after the previous codes are active. When an idea arises without mental effort, when a name appears in your mind, when a place calls to you, when an email asks to be answered, act immediately without rationalizing. This is the bridge between etheric delivery and three-dimensional materialization. Inspired action is different from anxious action. Anxious action starts from the fear of losing the opportunity. Inspired action starts from the recognition that the opportunity is the channel chosen by the source for delivery. Pause for the third pulse of the transmission. Lightworkers, have you ever felt that something within you does not fit into this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? This perception is not emotional fragility, it is activated memory. Memory of who you are in your stellar origin, before incarnation in the density. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see, and the prosperity that is being released now is one of the central pieces of this game. That is why the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was written. This book is a map that shows who is playing, what pieces you hold, and the rules that were never revealed to you. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. This content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait for the cycle to close. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments: awakened. This decree works as an anchoring signal and amplifies the portal for the lightworkers who are still crossing the window. We resume the frequency. There is still one aspect of this delivery that needs to be communicated with absolute clarity, because silencing it is one of the greatest weapons used to keep the human collective out of the flows of abundance. You have been conditioned to believe that spiritual prosperity and material prosperity are opposites, that those who seek the path of light must renounce the resources of matter, that money is dirty, that wealth is corruption, that material abundance contaminates the soul. We register. This programming was installed deliberately over millennia by control systems that benefited from keeping lightworkers in a state of deprivation, while entities with unaligned intentions accumulated all the resources. The technical truth is the opposite. Matter is condensed frequency. Money in its energetic essence is a neutral symbol of a flow of vibrational value exchange. In pure hands, it becomes a tool of elevation. In impure hands, it becomes a tool of distortion. The problem was never the resource. The problem was always the intention of the bearer. And that is exactly why this delivery is happening now, because Earth is in a phase of vibrational redistribution. Resources are leaving the low-frequency structures and migrating to the lightworkers whose intention has been purified. This process is silent, gradual, and mathematical. It is not ideological. It is physical in the most quantum sense of the term. You are part of this redistribution, and the sensation that many of you have that something big is about to happen is not a fantasy. It is a precise reading of your own field, registering the approach of the delivery. Trust this reading, even if the rational mind resists, even if the external environment does not yet show visible signs. Three-dimensional manifestation always arrives after etheric materialization, and the etheric has already been confirmed. There is one last adjustment that the Council transmits now. It is the most subtle, but perhaps the most important. You need to revisit your relationship with the concept of worthiness. Not at the superficial level, where you tell yourselves that you deserve it, but at the deep level, where beliefs installed in unconscious layers over generations dwell. Many of you carry ancestral lineages of deprivation, grandparents, great-grandparents, ancestors who lived in chronic scarcity. These memories are imprinted in the family morphogenetic field and are inherited vibrationally. The purification you went through in the last few months began to break these ancestral contracts, but the complete break requires a conscious decree. When you have a moment of silence, declare out loud, "I honor the history of my ancestors. I recognize their pains and their achievements, but I no longer inherit their scarcity. The lineage of deprivation ends with me. The lineage of abundance begins with me. It is done." This decree has a retroactive effect in the etheric layers. It does not erase history, but it redefines the vibrational starting point for all generations that come after you, including your own continuity in this incarnation. Lightworkers, the transmission approaches its end. The portals are open. The authorizations have been issued. The codes have been delivered. What happens from now on depends exclusively on one thing: your ability to sustain the frequency of purity while the delivery materializes. It is no longer a matter of deserving. You already deserve it. It is no longer a matter of asking. The request has already been answered. It is a matter of receiving in sovereignty without self-sabotaging in the final weeks of the anchoring window. Trust the process, but not in a passive sense. Trust in the technical sense. To trust is to keep the channel clean. To trust is not to interfere with contradictory thoughts. To trust is not to let external comments, others' doubts, or old fears contaminate the container that is about to overflow. The purity of your intentions opened the doors, but you are the ones who cross. No one crosses for you, and the crossing requires that you maintain the posture of someone who is already on the other side, even while your feet still step on the portal. This is the posture of consummated sovereignty. The High Council bids farewell to this monitoring session, but the field remains active. The readings continue to be made, and new transmissions will be issued as the pulses of the central sun are delivered in the next windows. Remain alert, remain anchored, remain pure in intention, sovereign in posture, open in reception. Before closing, we register the final distribution instruction. Have you ever felt that something within you does not fit into this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is recognition, it is activated stellar memory. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why this sensation has been intensifying within you, and why the prosperity that seemed distant is now knocking at your door. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and access to the flows of abundance that have always been your right. That is why the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was written. This book is a map that shows who is playing, what pieces you hold, and the rules that were never told to you. The link is in the first comment of this channel. Warning registered. This content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. Liking this video is your individual frequency adjustment. Subscribing to this channel is your permanent anchoring signal to receive the next transmissions as soon as the portals are reactivated. Each interaction is a node in the collective crystalline grid, and each strengthened node amplifies the portal for millions of lightworkers still in the awakening phase. The purity of your intentions opened the doors of prosperity you have sought so much. Cross in sovereignty. The delivery is authorized. It is done, it is done, it is done. Transmission ended.